Welcome to another episode of Brewed Awakening. We are back here again discussing all things conscious. My name is Poonam. I'm a certified conscious parenting coach, and I'm the founder of Possibilities Redefined.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Anna, also conscious parenting coach, a doula, and a prenatal educator. And so glad to do this again. I'm getting the cards ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Fatima, and I'm also a conscious parenting coach and a Montessori educator. And we're excited to see what is in today's card.
Let's see what we're drawing. Okay, we have a green card today since it's spring. Your children are superstars. Your inability to see this is indicative of a lack within you, not them.
Oh, wow.
Who wants to start on this?
I think we all three of us are itching to start, but let's hear what Pati has to say.
I was just going to repeat, it's a lack within us.
Not them.
Not them.
It's amazing how we project our own lack on our children and try to kind of achieve what we couldn't achieve for ourselves through them to get that validation. So we don't even see what the amazing power and the amazing abilities and the completeness and the wholeness of the child. Like there's no flaw in the child. They're just superstars, you know? But we fail to see that because our view of world is tainted by the experiences that we've had right from our childhood and when we become adults. So that experience, we are viewing the world through that experience and through that lens. And that's why we can't see the wholeness of our children, I think.
Yeah, I think what comes to me is the fact that until recently, we used to think that babies are blobs and they don't feel anything when they're born, and they don't know anything. They're just like a blank piece of paper. And I think that part of our conditioning is really a huge barrier and a filter over seeing children as superstars, right? When you look at a child fully immersed into whatever they're doing, like a 2-year-old, right? Even an 8-month-old, when they learn how to crawl and they're just like crawling everywhere and they're so engaged and excited and involved and present with what they're doing, that we forget to look at that as a miracle. It is a miracle. It's magic. Like, how do you get a baby from, not even being able to support their neck at day 1 to crawling at 8 months? There's so much that's happening there. And that is their superpower because they're doing it. We're just creating the environment. We're protecting the environment so they can discover their ability and go through their development safely. But I think partly because life is fast and we don't have time to really sit and observe our kids, and we ourselves are in lack. We just cannot see it as beauty, as joy, as amazing energy. We see it as, oh, I got to deal with this again. He's crawling there again. He's going there again. What is he doing? And we really need to shift this perspective a little bit, because the one thing that I've noticed over the almost 9 years I've been a parent is that kids are not coming our way no matter what we do. No matter how much we try to condition them, or they just don't. It's not their nature is made in such a way to protect them against any setup for lack or any setup for, right? And so that's where resistance between parent and child comes up. And as hard as it is to slow down and to really live presently with our kids, I think it's a must that we do it at least sometime, at least, a few times a week, really devote a practice to witnessing our kids. And if we do this from when they're little, then we cultivate this relationship with them. And then it's that much easier later on. So yeah, that's kind of what came, and then the endless lessons that our children, provide for us to connect ourselves back to this superpower that it's also in us and that we have forgotten to tap into.
Yeah, because we're all born with the wholeness, right? And they teach us how to go back to that. And I think we learn to meet the child where it is they at. And when we do that, that's when we see them for what they're trying to teach us, when we see them for who it is they are. And look at them as in finding ways for them to express themselves, and just to see what it is that they revealing to us in that moment. And when we talk about this lack, it's like most of us kind of impose our agenda onto our kids, our projections from our past, and our fears and insecurities. And that's where the lack comes from, right? Where they just this whole being ready to explore, ready to be curious. And then here it is, we come with our own conditioning. And then little do we actually realize that our agenda is, we need to realize that our agenda is ours and not the child's responsibility to meet our agenda. I think that's like, if you sit with that, like, they not coming with anything, they just out there being who it is they were meant to be. And when we able to just see that and see them for who it is they are, and maybe if we sit with it and realize that if you're projecting your agenda onto them, maybe that is completely misaligned with who it is they are and what it is they need.
Yeah, this makes me, sorry to interrupt, but it just came so strong. And I would go as far as saying that any expectations we have of our children disconnects not only us from them, but them from their nature and superpower. It is our expectations that we then turn into an agenda that we just dump on them. And they're not here to fulfill us, like you said. They are not here to fulfill anything for us. We are the adult, we are the mature person that we can take from whatever they're doing and fulfill ourselves. We can go that far. We can take from them. We can, but we have to witness them. We cannot put any expectations. And maybe parents are going to say, what do you mean no expectations? But we really need to sit with this word expectation, because an expectation, what is an expectation? It can't be objective. Right. It's always subjective to my needs. So I have certain expectations, and then my husband has different expectations based on what's inside of him towards our kid.
Yeah.
So if we're both involved and we project on our kid these expectations, then what's he going to do? How is he even going to choose between what's important to me or what's important to his dad? I mean, it's just a cluster of madness.
Yeah.
And sorry to interrupt, but how they either start conforming to what we are expecting and lose their authenticity, or they kind of express that they're not going where you're taking them, and then we call them rebels.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I like that Anna used the word expectations, because when you hear of expectations, that immediately tells us that it's coming from a sense of fear, that it's coming from a sense of lack, that it's coming
Control.
from disconnection to our oneness being, to our consciousness. And I think, and that's, like Anna said, what is the expectation? But it's good to ask, I think, in that moment when you see your child, what is my expectation here? Like, to question yourself, to be curious with yourself. Like, am I projecting blindly onto my child? Am I am I not meeting others' expectations from me? Just to see what exactly is my agenda.
Yeah.
Do I, yeah.
And to really find ourselves in the irony of it all, because I mean, I know I do it, you know, it's impossible to not have expectations, but we can work with them. It's a good
Yeah.
opportunity for us to see and to sit with it and deconstruct a little bit. One that comes to mind that I think everyone deals with, it's the grades in school, right? And for the parents that are like, we don't care about the grades, you know, it's always like, we don't care about the grades, but we expect him to learn.
Yeah.
So then we have to see, where is this expectation to learn, because it still drives to a good grade, right? Because then you can't put one and not the other. So this is where we really see how our subconscious conditioning and our habits and our fears really play out on a daily basis with our kids. And when you think that kids are born fully in abundance and they try to remain in that abundance for a good 10 years of their life, if the family home is safe and, you know, the basic needs are met, the kids then thrive in their abundance. But then we mirror, and they mirror our lack. We cannot enjoy their abundance because it's too much for us. And then it's almost like you feel like annoyed by your kid, like, stop being so happy. The world is not as as good.
Right.
And so we really have to start breaking down these things and ask ourselves. And I think the magic is whenever you see a disconnection, when you can't, our kids are there to guide us into this abundance. And when you can't meet it, when you don't feel like how they feel and you can't figure out how to connect with them in that moment, then it's an opportunity to search within and to really find some things for yourself that you need to work on.
I think we need to reframe our role as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So what is my role as a parent? Like, do I need to tell my kid who to become? Or is my role as a parent to provide a supportive and safe environment where they flourish and grow up to be who they were always meant to be? Because the kid does not come with an agenda. So they look at everything with curiosity and they're willing to learn, and they live in that moment, and they just cherish the moment by moment. So it's a big lesson for us, because whenever you go back and you are trying to impose an agenda, you need to reflect, am I sitting in some kind of fear from my past or fear of future? Or am I actually connecting to my child in the now? But I do understand when you said, the parents are about the grades. There is a form world that we need to live in, and we need to have the skills to be able to earn some sort of income to survive eventually. But that can come when the child is grown up enough to understand that, and you can gradually endeavor to create those skills as well, but not by diminishing the beauty of the essence of their soul. If we cherish that and nurture that and be with them in the moment, and you're able to connect, you can do other things on the side and periphery where they can still be their authentic selves, and still learn those skills. But then that comes from the place of connection, not, when we say, I'm not after the grades, your actions, your words, your conversations with other people actually tell your children what you're expecting without you actually putting it into words. So I think parenting is very hard. I still say that. So most parents are trying to do a good job, but if we understand connection first and understand that the child is living in the moment and they are curious, and I think they are our biggest teachers, because my children actually taught me how to be in the present moment. I had forgotten that. I had disconnected from everything. I always had an agenda for myself. And because I had it for myself, I had it for my children as well, till I understood that this is not how it works. And I just gave them the supporting environment where they just did what they wanted to do. And then they figured it out themselves as to what kind of careers they want to take up. And I think they are enjoying it, what they're doing right now, because they had the freedom to express themselves and learn about themselves and figure out what they wanted to do. Like I think I've shared with you guys, my son was doing some kind of study, and that's what he had aimed right from his childhood. And when he was doing his honors, he decided he wanted to do something else. So, but he came home and told us, and we were like, okay, you figure out what you want to do. And now he's changed his career and he loves it. But how about a parent who had an agenda that you have to do this because you've studied for X number of years, and this is end of the day, when we talk about grades, we talk about a career that gets them more money, isn't it? That's a fact.
Yeah.
And that's what all parents are aiming. I'm sorry to put it bluntly, but that's what it is. Choose a career that pays you more.
Yeah.
So what message are you giving your child?
Yeah, that
no
matter
you can
that no matter what it is, that your goal is just to get the money, instead of doing something that lights you up, something that fulfills you, do something that comes from your inner being. And that's when they actually thrive, and then they can enjoy and live in that moment with, that when we get enlightened is when we actually enjoy what we're doing. Instead of just making ourselves day in and day out doing something that doesn't fulfill our soul, doing something that is just out there to get the money, like you say, doing something that just is there for you to help you live. But I strongly believe that if you do what you really love and
it's not effort anymore,
that comes with it.
That's why our idea of success, the definition of success is more money. Mostly, I'm not saying everyone, but mostly definition of success is more money. But what empowers you is how whatever you're doing, how that is impacting your surroundings and other human beings. That's why we are constantly chasing, we achieve one thing and we start chasing something else, because the definition of success or whatever we are chasing is fictional. Like, it is not supposed to give you that that joy and the empowerment that Fatih is talking about. So the chase finishes when it resonates with you understanding what your purpose is. And we don't give that platform to our children. And it wasn't given to us as well. So we haven't learned what we can't pass on what we haven't learned. So it's no one's problem, but eventually people.
Yeah. And before we end, I also wanted to add the other thing that I think comes up as an anxiety when I heard you talk about your son switching paths after all those years. I think we parents, without realizing, we think that if they change paths, all that they've done before is lost, because we're so on the external. But we don't understand that whatever kids do, it doesn't feel like that to them. It feels like that to us because we are on the exterior of them. So maybe that's what tricks our mind into feeling like it's, a tangible thing that now you lost. During all those years of his formation in whatever path, he's learned all of his abilities that allows him to be here now, who he is fully. And kids are so capable, especially young adults. This is why I honestly think this is why the prefrontal cortex doesn't develop fully until late in our 20s, because we need our 20s to feel invincible, to feel like we can do anything, right? It's that energy. I remember feeling it, and nothing was, scary or too much, because we're made to discover what and it takes that many years sometimes. And it's okay to switch paths. It's okay to drop out of college. It's okay to start again. Young people have the energy in them. But if the parents are not behind them to support them and to inspire courage, go do it. I'm here. I mean, this is why we work for stability, right? We parents always work for stability, to provide our children with a safe, stable house so that they can go and do this, not so they can become what we are. If there's one generational thing that we can gift to our children, is this freedom and trust. Like, allow them to discover who they are, because then they will be in such liberty of who they are, and they will most likely not struggle as much as we are struggling, trying to reinvent and redefine and rediscover and find ourselves in doing all of this work.
Yeah, before we end, I just want to say, we need to understand that life is a journey of growth. There is no end. So our children are constantly learning and growing no matter what. And there is no end. So if they navigate to another career and then they navigate to something else, that's their path, that's their journey. Let's just grow with them. We have forgotten to be curious. We have forgotten to be learners. We have forgotten to take risks because we live in fear. Let's not pass it on to our children.
Yeah.
Let's give them the freedom to be and experience life.
Yeah. To be the superstars they were born to be. With these superpowers, right?
Yeah.
They have these superpowers that they were born with. And that's the superpower of being present. That's what they teach us. The superpower of just being who they are unapologetically.
Yeah.
True.
Great talk, guys. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.